The Cheeseboy628 Show, starring Cheeseboy628.
Hey there GTS, what's going on? This is Cheeseboy628 here today giving you an OU tier Wi-Fi battle. I met my opponent on the Exact Chat Pokemon Wi-Fi channel, and we had an excellent match, so I thought I'd share it with you guys today. Now my team here is actually a balanced rain team made by my buddy Triple Finish Gaming, and it's a Scarf Politoed, Scarf Celebi, Sashed Mamoswine, E-Belt Latios, and then Tentacruel and Ferrothorn as my defensive core. Now looking at my opponent's team here, if he has a Scarf Zoroark, Infernape, or Latios with a plus speed nature, they can outspeed any of my team. So I have to be wary of that because they're all very powerful threats. The rest of his team has a Dusclops and a Bronzong that are pretty strong defensive core, so I'll have a bit of trouble breaking it down, but a couple Surfs should wear it down, and Scizor is just too powerful. My opponent's team doesn't seem too prepared for rain though, so if I can get some Surfs or Scalds off with Politoed or Tentacruel, I should be fine, as his only resistance is Latios, which will be offensive of course, so it will take a decent amount from a rain boosted Scald or Surf. So let's see how this battle goes. So we start with my Politoed just to get the rain up, as he doesn't have any weather to counter it. So he brings in his Bronzong just to get his rocks up, and I'm thinking I'll just go for a couple Surfs, try to knock this thing down as soon as possible, and he's just going to go for his rocks as I said, and it's pretty bulky. So it's probably going to be a 4 KO because of lefties, so I'm going to go for another Surf, just try to wear this thing down as soon as possible because I really don't have any counters to it besides a couple Surfs and Scalds from Politoed or Tentacruel. So now I'm able to take it out in maybe 2 more Surfs. He goes for the Toxic, and so he probably doesn't have any attacking moves, just some stalling tactics, so this will be important for later. I'm just going to go for another Surf, and he brings in Latios to resist, and doesn't take it too well. But I definitely want to save my Politoed, and I'm going to bring in Ferrothorn just to take anything, probably the Dragon move being Draco Meteor here, and turns out I just avoid it entirely, and right now I'm just thinking, okay, I would have taken it easily anyway. So now he brings in his Scizor, I'm just going to get a layer of spikes up, add that pressure. He does have a ton of pokes that are grounded, so this will be nice to increase the pressure. Now I don't want to take anything from this Scizor, anything that could possibly hurt my Ferrothorn, my Tentacruel is going to be able to resist, and I do have a nice amount of physical bulk. Now it does show that he has Life Orb here, so spikes plus any kind of hazards plus Life Orb is going to be very nice on the Scizor. Now he brings in his Latios, and I'm kind of scared for taking any Draco, and so I'm going to go into Ferrothorn here, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take this alright, and he does hit the Draco this time, and when I look at this damage, holy cow, that does a lot of damage, so I'm definitely thinking this thing is specs. I do have a bunch of physical investment, but it's a Ferrothorn. It should not be able to take so much health from that Draco. So now he brings in his Infernape here, and I go for the Leaf Seed, just trying to get some recovery now, because Ferrothorn is pretty low, and I definitely will need Ferro to counter this Latios. So now the Infernape's in, and I just don't want to take anything. Tentacruel is going to be able to wall this thing entirely because they do have some nice physical bulk, and he is going to go for the U-turn. I was thinking about going into Latios, but I do know these things like to U-turn in the beginning to try to get some momentum. So luckily my Latios doesn't take too much damage. But now he brings in his Latios, and I'm thinking, okay, I should just fodder off my Politoed. My Ferrothorn definitely can't take too many more hits. Now much to my surprise, when I bring in my Politoed, the Latios actually goes for the trick. So now I'm going to have Choice Specs, and he's going to have Choice Scarf, but it's kind of good because now Ferrothorn's going to be able to take Dracos much easier, but it's bad because Latios outspeeds everything on my team. So I'm going to have to fodder Politoed off here, but I really doubt I had any chance of surviving that. So now I'm going to go into my Ferro, and now that he's at -2, I can go for the Leech Seed, try to recover some more HP. Turns out he brings in Dusclops, and I'm really thinking it's not going to be able to touch me. It might go for a Willow and Seismic Toss, but that's not going to do too much. I'm not too worried. And since Dusclops really can't do anything, I'm thinking this is a nice opportunity to add some more layers of spikes, because he still has a bunch of grounded pokes, and so this is going to be very nice to add some pressure as he doesn't have a spinner. So I'm going to go for my second layer of spikes here, but much to my surprise, he goes for the Sunny Day. And I was certainly not expecting that. So now I'm kind of worried that this Infernape's going to come in and start Flare Blitzing everything, because that could definitely wreck my team quite a bit. thinking that he's going to switch in with Infernape now and going for the Gyro Ball, but it turns out he just goes for the Willow, so it does diddly. So I'm at max HP now besides on the burn, but I'm not too worried because Dusclops can't do anything. Now it goes into Latios though and I get my final layer of spikes, but I'm thinking the way he brought this in, he probably has HP Fire. So I'm going to go into my Tentacruel now to take the apparent HP Fire, but it turns out the hidden power does neutral damage to me, so I'm wondering if he missed Saved or something. I did ask him afterwards, turns out he did have HP Dark, so he missed Saved. Now I could have went for the Scald here on this Infernape, but the sun was still up so it wouldn't do too much, so I thought adding spikes would add more pressure and be more beneficial in the end. So he does go for the CC here. I wish I could get a rapid spin off, but I die. Just kidding, because Tentacruel's freaking loyal and lives with 1 HP. I can get off that rapid spin, and Tentacruel can live another day. Good lord, doing work, Tentacruel. So now to take the next CC, I'm going to go into my Celebi, and when he goes for it, it does way too much. I mean, I know I don't have HP investment, but then I did a calculator. Turns out it's banded. If it was Jolly, it did maximum damage, and if it was Adamant, it did close to min damage. Now I do go for the Leaf Storm here just in case he tries to bring in Zoroark predicting my Psychic, and if he did, he could have potentially trapped me, but instead he goes into Scizor, and I try switching out, but turns out he has the Pursuit. So he's going to easily take out my Celebi, and so once again he's getting some Life Orb recoil, and spikes are definitely hindering him. Now I go into my Mamo here, and I thought I should explain my thought process. I am sashed, so no matter what, I'm going to get 1 guaranteed turn to do anything. Now at the amount of health Latios is at, an Ice Shard will not kill because I am Jolly. And I could also get my rocks up to get some damage on that Latios every time it tries to come in. I will probably guaranteed kill that Scizor with the EQ, but in the end I think rocks adding some more hazard damage could be more beneficial. Plus I have a way around this Scizor. So I do go for my rocks, but first he goes for the BP, and because Mamoswine doesn't like sashes, he decides to live on 2 HP instead. So I'm going to get the rocks off with my Mamo, and then I'm going to go for the Ice Shard on the Scizor just to do a bit of damage, which is key for the next few turns. Then he's going to get the game-changing crit with the BP on my Mamo to take it out, and now to put my plan into action to take out that big threat. First I have to go into Latios because I have to bait the BP, because there's no way that he's going to necessarily go for the Pursuit because I could easily take him out with anything. So I'm going to go into Ferrothorn to give him all of that recoil from Iron Barbs and Life Orb. And finally, he's probably going to go for some move that can basically hit all of my pokes, so I have to go into Tentacruel just to fodder it off because he lives with the tiniest of bits of HP. So Tentacruel has to go down, but Scizor will finally go down due to Life Orb recoil, which will be very nice. Now all that's left is my Latios and my Ferrothorn, and I'm thinking no matter what I can't bring in Latios because if he brings in his, he outspeeds and easily takes me out. So he does go into his Latios, and I'm at a decent amount of HP, but not too much, so I have to go for the lead seed, and so I'm going to do such, and he's going to be at -2 now, and so now he's definitely not going to be doing nearly as much, and hopefully I'll get a decent amount of recovery, although burn is definitely hindering me right now. So I'm thinking he might want to switch out, but in the case that he doesn't, I am just going to go for the Gyro Ball, as it was potentially risky because I need as much HP as possible, but yeah, he stays in, and of course once again Latios is going to live on the littlest of HP, so unfortunately I have to take one more Draco, and so now I'm living at a very small amount of HP here, but thankfully Ferrothorn is barely surviving, doing some work. I don't go for the Gyro Ball because I want as much HP from that Leech Seed as possible, as if I die from burn, it is basically game. Now as my Ferrothorn decides to barely live with 14 HP, I'm in a bit of a situation. The Dusclops comes in and I'm worried that it has Seismic Toss or something to take me out. Either way it outspeeds me, so I can't do anything to it, especially since I'm burned. So I go out to my Latios and I really hope it doesn't Pain Split expecting this. And it turns out he actually goes for the Fire Punch. So thankfully my Ferrothorn lives another day and Latios barely takes anything. But here's the problem. He brings in his apparently Bronzong, but it is Zoroark of course. So I'm just worried I cannot bring in my Ferrothorn. The Sucker Punch is definitely evident, but Latios has to stay in, and you'll see why. am guessing that it's Scarf because he already showed his specs and banned Pokemon. So I'm going to go for the Leech Seed here, and expecting that he's just going to go for the Sucker Punch, expecting I'm going to attack him. I'm going to go for the Leech Seed, so the Sucker Punch fails and I get some HP recovery. So thanks to Lefties and Leech Seed, I'm able to get to a decent amount of health, I guess. So what he's going to do is withdraw his Pokemon here, and he's going to go into his Bronzong, and all I have to do is go for a Leech Seed. Wait, Ferrothorn, what are you doing? Wait, don't, no! So because Ferrothorn is not well enough trained, Ferrothorn is going to miss the most vital Leech Seed of the game, and eventually die of burn because my opponent is going to fodder off his second last Pokemon so I don't get any Leech Seed recovery, and I die of burn, and he wins with the narrowest of 1-0 victories. So that was an amazing battle, Adi. I had a ton of fun, and I hope you all enjoyed this video as well. I have to give a shout out to my buddy Tony, who made these graphic effects for me. The thumbnail, the team preview, and the outro are all by him. On my channel, I upload weekly Wi-Fi battles, which will soon be 2 per week. I also do Pokemon Showdown lives, tier guides, regular Showdown battles, and much more. In my outro, there's an annotation that links to a funny song that I made recently about the Pokemosh Pit, and I'd really love if you guys came over to check it out. So if you enjoyed this video, please come check out my channel, and if you like what you see there, please do subscribe. And last but certainly not least, I sincerely thank the GTS for giving me another chance on this channel, and I hope my narration was much better this time. Thank you Magnitude for maintaining this channel, and let's hope it gets much more success in the future. So thank you all for watching, like, comment, sub, and until later, peace.